Good morning everyone. Basa na tayo ng Bible guys. To Chronicles 1 to 3. Chapter 1 to 3. In John chapter 10 verse 1 to 23. Dito muna tayo sa John guys. Bakit kasi yung Old Testament puro 3 chapter ang schedule natin? Ang hahaba pa naman. Tara. Basa. Jesus is the good shepherd. I tell you the truth, the man who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. So, yung mga magnanakaw daw, yung mga umaakyat daw sa, yung hindi dumadaan sa pintuan. At umaakyat sa magnanakaw. Inaano ko yung kamay ko kasi puro pawis. So, kaumpisa pa lang natin. The man who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The watchman opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and the sheep follow him, because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but they did not understand what he was telling them. Ang hilig kasi ni Jesus minsan sa parables, diba? So, minsan malalalim talaga. Therefore, Jesus said again, I tell you the truth, I am the gate for the sheep. All whoever came over before me were thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. He will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd who owns the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep knows me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of the sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. At these words, the Jews were again divided. Many of them, he is a demon-possessed and raving mad. Why listen to him? But others said, these are not the saying of a man possessed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind? Religious leaders surround Jesus at the temple sa verse 22 guys. Baka lumagpas na naman tayo hanggang 23 lang tayo. Sayang oras eh. Diba? Nung nakaraan, lumagpas-lagpas tayo. Sa verse 22. Then came the feast of dedication of Jerusalem. It was winter. And Jesus was in the temple area walking in Solomon's colonnade. So hanggang doon lang tayo sa Solomon's colonnade. Bukas na yung verse 24. Excuse mo na. Napapawisan na kasi. Dito na tayo sa sa Chronicles chapter 1 to Chronicles. Ang bilis, no? To Chronicles kaagad tayo. Pero mo guys, araw-araw tayo nagbabasa ng Bible, walang lakto, walang absent. Kahit mahirap ginagawa. Chapter 1, 2, and 3. Basa. Solomon asked for wisdom. Solomon, son of David, established himself firmly over his kingdom, for the Lord his God was with him, and made him exceedingly great. Then Solomon spoke to all Israel, to the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, to the judges, and to all the leaders in Israel, the heads of families. And Solomon and the whole assembly went to the high place of Gibeon, for God's tent of meeting was there, which Moses the Lord's servant had made in the desert. Now David had brought up the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim to the place he had prepared for it, because he had pitched a tent for it in Jerusalem. But the bronze altar that Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made was in Gibeon in front of the tabernacle of the Lord. So Solomon and the assembly inquired of him there. Solomon went up to the bronze altar before the Lord in the tent of meeting and offered 1,000 burnt offerings on it. Pero guys, thousands offerings. Yayamanin talaga. That night, God appeared to Solomon and said to him, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." O yan guys, ask daw kayo whatever you want. Sana gumaling na ang COVID-19. Yun. Kasi nakalagay sa verse 7, no? That night, God appeared to Solomon and said to him, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Ayun. Gumaling na ang COVID-19. Lahat ng may sakit gumaling na. Please, amen. Solomon answered God, "You have shown great kindness to David my father, and have made me king in his place. Now, Lord God, let your promise to my father David be confirmed, for you have made me king over a people who are as numerous as the dust of the earth. Give me wisdom and knowledge that I may lead this people, for who is able to govern the great people of yours?" God said to Solomon, "Since this is your heart's desire, and you have not asked for wealth, riches or honor, nor for the death of your enemies, and since you have not asked for a long life, but for wisdom and knowledge to govern my people, over whom I have made you king, therefore wisdom and knowledge will be given you, and I will also give you wealth, riches, and honor, such as no king who was before you ever had, and none after you will have." Then Solomon went to Jerusalem from the high place of Gibeon, before the tent of meeting, and there he reigned over Israel. Sa verse 14, guys. Solomon accumulated chariots and horses. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses, which he kept in the chariot cities, and also with him in Jerusalem. The king made silver and gold as common in Jerusalem as stones. Pero mo common lang sa kanila yung silver at gold, guys. So, how I wish we have also. As common in Jerusalem as stones and cedars, as plentiful as sycamore fig trees in the foothills. Solomon's horses were imported from Egypt and from KUA. The real merchants purchased them from Ku. Basta yun. Basahin nyo na lang din sa Bibles nyo, guys. From Ku. Ku. They imported, saan na tayo? 17. They imported a chariot from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver and a horse for 150. They also exported them to all the kings of the Hittites. Hittites. Sorry, guys. Kings of the Hittites of the Arameans. Solomon builds the temple, preparation for building the temple. Di ba prepared na nga ni King David to dati para sa kay King Solomon, para sa anak niya si Solomon. Yung mga materials ba? So, kumbaga sana gagawin na lang ni Solomon yan. Papatayo na lang. Sa chapter 2 na tayo. Solomon gave orders to build a temple for the name of the Lord and a royal palace for himself. He conscripted 70,000 men as carriers and 80,000 as stone cutters in the hills and 3,600 as foremen over them. Solomon sent this message to Hiram, king of Tyre. Send me cedar logs as you did for my father David, when you sent him cedar to build a palace to live in. Now I am about to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, and to dedicate it to him for burning fragrant incense before him, for setting out the consecrated bread regularly, and for making burnt offerings every morning and evening, and on Sabbaths and new moons, and at the appointed feast of the Lord our God. This is a lasting ordinance for Israel. The temple I am going to build will be great, because our God is greater than all other gods. But who is able to build a temple for him, since the heaven, even the highest heavens, cannot contain him? How then am I to build a temple for him, except as a place to burn sacrifices before him? Send me therefore a man skilled to work in gold and silver. Doon sa King of Tyre siya kailangan niya ng mga ganito, ganito, ganito. Siguro ang yaman ng Tyre noon, ano? Kasi yung lahat ng parang materials yata ng sa kanila kinukuha. Dito tayo sa verse 7, chapter 2 Chronicles chapter 2 verse 7. Send me therefore a man skilled to work in gold and silver, bronze and iron, and in purple, crimson, and blue yarn, and experience in the art of engraving, to work in Judah and Jerusalem with my skilled craftsmen, whom my father David provided. Send me also a cedar, pine, and algum logs from Lebanon, for I know that your men are skilled in cutting timber there. My men will work with yours to provide me with plenty of lumber, because the temple I build must be large and magnificent. I will give plenty of lumber because the temple, sa verse 10. Verse 10 na tayo. I will give your servants, the woodsmen who cut the timber, 20,000 cores of ground with 20,000 cores of barley, 20,000 vats of wine, and 20,000 vats of olive oil. Oh, so parang trading. Palitan sila ng product. Ganun. Hiram, king of Tyre, replied by letter to Solomon, because the Lord loves his people, he has made you their king. And Hiram added, Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, who made heaven and earth. He has given King David a wise son, endowed with intelligence and discernment, who will build a temple for the Lord and a palace for himself. I am sending you Hiram Abi, a man of great skill, whose mother was from Dan, and whose father was from Tyre. He is trained to work in gold and silver, bronze and iron, stone and wood, and with purple and blue and crimson yarn and fine linen. He is experienced in all kinds of engraving and can execute any design given to him. He will work with your craftsmen and with those of my lord David your father. Now let my lord send his servants the wheat and barley and the olive oil and wine he promised, and he will cut all the logs from Lebanon that you need, and will float them in rafts by sea down to Joppa. You can then take them up to Jerusalem. Verse 17. Solomon took a census of all the aliens who were in Israel after the census his father David had taken, and they were found to be 153,600. He assigned 70,000 of them to be carriers and 80,000 to be stone cutters in the hills, with 3,600 foremen over them to keep the people working. So yun, mainam ngayon may mga ginagawang construction guys. Alam mo lahat ng may magkakatrabaho. Yun ang kailangan na kasi pag may trabaho, syempre may sweldo, 'di ba? So asinsado yung mga tao. Solomon builds the temple. And then Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah. Where the Lord, sa chapter 3 na tayo ha. Solomon builds the temple. Then Solomon began to build the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David. It was on the threshing floor of Araunah. 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 The Jebusite, the place provided by David. He began building on the second day of the second month in the 4th year of his reign. The foundation Solomon laid for building the temple of God was 60 cubits long and 20 cubits wide, using the cubit of the old standard. The portico at the front of the temple was 20 cubits long across the width of the building and 20 cubits high. O mga engineer. Mga engineer dyan. Yung mga sukat-sukat ba? Mahina tayo sa ganyan. Kaya hindi ko iniintindi yan. He overlaid the inside. Ang tanong, buhay pa kaya itong temple na to up to now? Wait lang ha. Kaya ako tinatanong kung buhay pa kung nakatayo pa tong temple kasi nga diba uso yung mga sa kanila, mga giyera-giyera sa kanila, mga pinapasabog yung mga hindi na mahinto yung ko. Hindi ko malaman kung pawis sa ilong o joke. Ay, nako. He overlaid the inside with pure gold. Sa verse 5 na tayo. He paneled the main hall with pine and covered it with fine gold and decorated it with palm tree and chain designs. He adorned the temple with precious stones, and the gold he used was gold of Parvim. He overlaid the ceiling beams, door frames, walls, and doors of the temple with gold. Saan ka pa? Grabe naman. Mga pinto guys, yung mga beams. Gold talaga. Kaya tinatanong ko kung ano pa to up to now. Isa mahal ng ginto ngayon, 'di ba? Kung nakatayo pa to up to na tong na to. Hindi kaya mainit sa mata sa pagdanakaw to. Kababasa lang natin doon sa dyan. Marami. And he carved cherubim on the walls. Oh. Meron silang inokit na, alam yung cherubim guys, yung mga parang angels yun, di ba? O angels nga talaga yan. cherub. About the most holy place, its length corresponded to the width of the temple, 20 cubits long and 20 cubits wide. He overlaid the inside 600 talents of fine gold. The gold nails weighed 50 shekels. He also overlaid the upper parts with gold. In the most holy place he made a pair of sculpture cherubim and overlaid them with gold. The total wingspan of the cherubim was 20 cubits. One wing of the first cherub was 5 cubits long and touched the temple wall, while its other wing was also 5 cubits long, touched the wing of the other cherub. Similarly, one wing of the second cherub was 5 cubits long and touched the other temple wall, and its other wing, also 5 cubits long, touched the wing of the first cherub. The wings of this cherub extended 20 cubits. They stood on their feet, facing the main hall. Ang gagaling naman ng mga construction ng araw. Talagang detalyado to. He made a curtain of blue, purple, and crimson yarn and fine linen with cherubim work into it. In the front of the temple he made 2 pillars, which together were 35 cubits long, each with capital on top measuring 5 cubits. He made interwoven chains and put them on top of the pillars. He also made 100 pomegranates and attached them to the chains. He erected the pillars in the front of the temple, one to the south and one to the north. The one to the south he named Jakin, and the one to the north, Boaz. So hanggang dito lang tayo, guys. Bukas na yung chapter 4 at mahaba-haba na naman yan. Bye everyone. God bless.